Patty's trying to get the camera.
Oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
That was a
Do that
rehearsal.
again.
That
Yeah.
was a rehearsal.
All right.
It's three.
All right. What if we curated our 3-day Asia 2 experience and what we sent and acted on Digital Liz? This way, others in the network could explore, envision, and enact with us. And what we were thinking is that we would actually curate what it is we've done over these 3 days. And we would do that by having video, by having written examples, by having commentary from everybody who's been here. And they would have direct connections to the part where we first went through responsive design to explain what that was. And then how we exercised that in the days that came afterward. And then through different links of Twitter, our Prezi, and I cannot read that one. Pinterest. Okay, in different ways that we could expand upon that. And then the building upon that, the what's next to it, and the yes and. We could do our connections down here where we would have direct links on how it's being used in each of our own situations, which ties very closely what we just heard over there. Do you want to go on from that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this was, this part was, here is our 3 days, and then thinking about it timeline-wise, then Patty does something, and Camille does something, and Dawn does something, and Ralph does something. We've got elements that we link in, maybe from people's own sources of recording these types of events through photography. But then this little bunch of grapes was kind of intended to be, what if this extended, and what if, your neighbor or peer colleague decided that they were going to do something and get started involved with this, which kind of connects to the very first, the digital community building that could happen prior to another physical community building experience.
Yes, and it's already been done with Ann Lieberman and Diana Wood's ethnography of the National Writing Project, focusing on 2 case studies, right? So we were wondering, what if, this is Ralph and his little world, Camille and hers, Dawn and hers, Mike and his, multiplied by all of us in our own little worlds, doing our own little thing, and if we periodically share in some way, we could, in real time, examine what are the kinds of things people are exploring, envisioning, and enacting to build sort of this larger collection that can be curated where anybody can visit at any point in time, just to get more information about that.
And I think one of the interesting things that Ralph was talking about too is how do we get that out there to the general population? And then you were talking about a radio show, podcasts.
Or at least,
Right, to get that information out there. I know that I've noticed links on the main page that will take you to different sites. So to have those connections out there, I think it's a doable project.
Okay, very good. So now, wonderful. We're now going to go around with our noticings.
I noticed that it starts out kind of small and, all 18 of us, or whatever you want to call us, and then it just gets larger and larger and larger with each piece of your diagram, and moves out into, eternity, so to speak.
I noticed that we continue to build on this framework of exploring, envisioning, enacting, and that seems to be something that's going to hold us together.
I heard a new phrase that Mike used, digital community building, and I thought it was powerful.
I noticed that the act of curating is kind of like what Mike did for us that first day together. He had everything packed, and we unpacked it piece by piece. And it would be the same way that people could do, looking at videos, looking at lesson plans, ideas, etc.
I noticed the strong visual and metaphoric ways you all share.
I noticed the power in each person who is here being able to enact this and enact something from this in their own way, in their own world, and how and the potential for that to multiply and spread.
I noticed that this kind of embodies some of
answering some of those questions.
I noticed the micro individual experience and the macro community experience.
I notice a strong sense of the chronology and the starting off the first day, moving through day 1, day 2, day 3, as we have to become how the diagram represents this creation of us as a group.
Can I do a second noticing? I noticed that, and I'm gonna notice from 2 different places that we keep looking at the day 1, day 2, day 3, and it's something we've built here. But it doesn't always, we're focused on the day 1, day 2, day 3, and not the thousands of days that have come before this that have led to this. So does it translate into the time that? I think it's
Historical time.
Yeah, 2/16/12 is not our starting date.
Prehistory.
Yeah.
I noticed Nicole notices that.
That's interesting. And I noticed that it was at the bottom where it looks somewhat like a timeline, but it goes both ways. And so it's inclusive, very inclusive.
So now let's.
We have one more.
I noticed that regardless of what we do in those areas, this seems to be going to grow without us necessarily planning, because those people are all in place and you guys are all, using your emails and your digital computers, or, they're all already in place. So I think we're gonna be growing anyway.
So now let's spin into interpretations as we're beginning to wonderings and interpretations from this.
I wonder, once we start the collection and the collection keeps building, how will we reshape it from there? Because if we, is it a possibility that it could be reshaped into another step? There's so much collection.
I wonder how long it will take to get from 3 days to the grapes that are out there in the.
To the wine.
I wonder why that group got 2 pieces of paper and the other groups only got 1.
I wonder how this and what the other 2 groups have put up there can all be interwoven together.
Ditto.
I wonder if this is as you say, I wonder if this is a model for how we can continue the process beyond today.
Am I allowed to wonder
So,
about our own project?
yeah.
Because it relates to, I wonder if this is the digital engagement part of that first one, and this is the physical engagement part of the first one, and then they have this looping back.
So I wonder if that is this again, you know what I mean? It just reloops again into real physicality.
That's what I was thinking,
Interesting.
this is the embodiment, I
Right.
think, of the discussions we had over there.
And I wonder if we recognize that, how much more powerful is it than if we just have any one
Right.
piece.
Alone.
So,
That's kind of the leadership piece. This is kind of a development piece. This is a sustaining piece. And I think if we left any part of this out, it won't buy us what we want.
So I just have a wondering, and then we have to go to
I have a
another
wondering
one.
also.
I have a wondering, and then we'll go to, you know what, I'm gonna wait on my wondering for that.
Do you have Nora, do you have a wondering?
I have a wondering also.
Or
Not
what?
right now.
Nora is
Okay.
full of
I think
wonder.
I know that.
I am a wonder.
Nicole.
No, Cole, okay, go. I'm wondering, one, how, all those little bubbles that are spreading out, how that's going to look, and part of what I'm wondering is it that this is always going to be a core group who are involved Or is there a time when it's going to not fracture, but spread, so that there's a group in California that has this experience and we're spreading it out, and there's the group that's over there, and so that we're multiple groups spreading.
So there's like Asia, Pakistan, Europe, you know, different.
Exactly.
But you know, that's
Exactly.
ultimately what the Summer Institute is. There's a core framework, but each one of us puts our own spin to it to make it work for our site and our community. And so anything you would do here, you know, you start out with some givens. And then each site or each cluster of site makes it their own. And that's what, it won't work until, I don't think, until people would be allowed to do that.
I think it reverberates, you know, you drop a stone in the water and it keeps on growing and growing. And then each time it takes on its own life, and that happens.
So I think, right, we've, is everybody?
We have one more
Oh,
group, don't we?
yes, I was gonna say, we've got time for us now to, we've got